Hello, my name is Salty. I'm a motorcycle addict. Welcome to tonight's meeting of degenerates and a few uninterrupted souls. But that is still up for debate, which would make this political. So let's get on with a third special guest episode live at 5 on this Wheelie Wednesday and shift into third gear. Let that clutch go and twist the throttle. Let's rip into the evening show. Coming to you from within the Badger set, a different type of hole. That being said, in this off season, please remember those of us riders suffering through winter with PMS. Our bikes suffer too. Still trying to convince my wife motorcycles are a good financial investment. She doesn't agree, but I'm willing to trade one basket case for another. Maybe you'll have better luck with her than I do. Let's get back and talk about motorcycles, that lifestyle. It's all about the adventure. Most of all, remember, chopping ain't easy. If I wanted to ride something easy, I would have called your girlfriend. Salty Badger arriving. All right, guys. Tonight's special guest is in the studio, and this is a special edition of Salty Badger's Chopper Talk. Tales from the Road is coming to you live through StreamYard on YouTube from the Badger set and streaming to you on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. So kids have no excuse to miss an episode unless, of course, I just plain bore them, and that I can understand. Without further ado, we're going to roll our intro. All right, guys. Everybody, I've got Randall here from Cycle Showcase, and we're going to run through a couple questions I've got for him. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
Good. All right. I'm going to do my little bit of an intro for him, and then we're going to roll with the questions. Please welcome tonight's special guest from the Cycle Showcase, Randall. I have conjured up some questions to ask that I will let him tell us a bit about himself, his show, and things to come. Let's see what we got here. So, up first question we have is, when was your first memorable motorcycle experience?
Oh boy. My first memorable, I grew up with a single mother, and she had a boyfriend that had a Triumph. And he didn't last long for boyfriend, but the impression that Triumph left on me was pretty remarkable. And I was about 6 or 7 at the time. And after that, it was collecting Evel Knievel stunt bikes and anything with a motorcycle I was infatuated with. And then a few years later, I was about 8, 9, 10, something like that. And my uncle, who was very instrumental in my upbringing, he became a biker of sorts and was traveling around the country in the 70s and riding his bike everywhere. And that was my first real ride, was belt strapped to my uncle's sissy bar as we would go down the highway. And I had a helmet with no glasses and my eyes would just water, and I thought it was the best thing in the world.
Right. That's
right.
All right. So that's pretty awesome first experience.
Yeah. My mother, I was raised by a single mother, and she would not allow me to have a motorcycle growing up. She was worried about her only son hurting himself in some catastrophic way, what have you. After I graduated high school and left the house, and that was one of the first things that I dove into. She has since come to embrace it and knows that I may not be the smartest man, but I can hold my own on a bike, and then she's not quite as worried about me anymore.
Right on. So next one I have is, who is your biggest influence in regards to motorcycles?
Well, doubling back around again, that was my uncle.
Okay.
My uncle Steve. He was the male figure in my life, and he would take me to all the World of Wheels car shows and the bike shows, and take me to all of these events, because he could see a budding gearhead growing up when he recognized it, and he was kind of a bit of a gearhead himself. But he would take me to all the shows, and we would look at the cool bikes and the cool cars, and hell, anything with a motor. I was all about it. So yeah, that would be Uncle Steve, the guy that really helped cement the passion that I've got now.
Nice. So the next one is you have a one-of-a-kind show in St. Louis that really kicks off the season for mini builders, and it becomes a yearly tradition for many to get build done for it to be revealed under your lighting. What inspired you to start the Cycle Showcase series?
Well, I was we'll just kind of go roundabout. If you got a little time, here we go.
I got time. We're good.
Okay. I by trade, I am a sound and lighting engineer for live concerts. I've been doing that since I was 18 years old. I'm now 57, so I'm creeping up on 40 years here. So once I toured for 10 years, and about 25 years ago, I quit touring and found a house venue in St. Louis, where my family was from. And I thought, I'm a little tired of touring. I'm tired of being on the road. I'm tired of going down the highway in a tour bus and looking out the window and seeing a guy on a motorcycle go by. And I'm wishing I was that guy on the motorcycle, And the guy on the motorcycle is probably pointing up at the tour bus going, I wish I was on that tour bus.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But I did my time on the road. I did 10 years on the road, and then I settled into a house gig. And once I settled into my house gig here in St. Louis, when I was touring all summer long, and there wasn't a lot of bike time. But once I got the house gig, I was like, I'm in my own bed every night. I can wrench, I can do everything. And that's when once I got the house gig in St. Louis in the year 2000, that's when the motorcycle thing really took hold, and I could start creating and building bikes that I had been building in my head for years. So I started building bikes and messing around with bikes. And there were a few shows around St. Louis that were bike shows, and it always felt like either felt like a cash grab or something. It just didn't feel sincere, authentic. It didn't feel like it was for the love of the bike, and that's what I had. And I was like, like my mom always said, if you don't like it, do something about it. And I said, I've been doing concerts my whole life. I know how to put on a concert. I know how to put on a show. Why not take a stab at it? And in 2013, I did the first cycle showcase in St. Louis. So I would go to Vintage Bike Night and hang out with those guys. I'm now a member of the Antique Motorcycle Club. I would go to Moto Europa and go to European Bike Night. I would go on Wednesday nights and hang out at the Chopper Bar and hang out with the Chopper guys. And I don't know if you can hear my dogs going crazy.
That's all right.
All right. Hey, shut up! There we go. Thank you for that break. I think the mailman just came. So,
no, you're good.
But no, it was there were a few shows, and then they would at one point they disappeared. They quit having any shows here in St. Louis, and I did a little research, and I was like, St. Louis is so geographically centrally located. We are within 6 hours, like 8 cities of 1 million people: Memphis, Nashville, Chicago, Indianapolis, Des Moines, Milwaukee, Kansas City, Oklahoma City. I could just keep going around. And why doesn't St. Louis have a really cool show? Because I surround myself with people that love bikes and create cool stuff. And I said, It's if you want to do it, don't bitch about it, just do it. And I started, like I said, I started in 2013, did the first cycle showcase, and it was the response was so overwhelmingly positive that I could not do it again the next year, and then the next year, and the next year, and it's grown into what it is now. And, I'm really proud of it. It's uh, I'm proud of it, but I have to. It's not me. It's an entire group effort. Without the really cool builders building really cool stuff and wanting to bring it to St. Louis, my show would be nothing. Without the cool artists that are creating moto-centric art and coming to the show and sharing that with the people, my show would be nothing. So this is really a group effort, and as much as it's my show and my dream, I couldn't do without all these other people.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So that leads me into the next question, which I have my own answer on it. So after I ask the question, I'm going to give my answer on how I feel being an attendee of one of your shows. And then I want you to tell me, I kind of changed it a little bit, but because I thought about it afterwards. So the next question I had is, what would you say the Cycle Showcase alumni is different than the rest of the motorcycle community, and how? So the way that I look at this is, your show is so much different that it makes it about the bike and the builder, where there's no awards, there's nothing there. So to me, that makes it a more personable show when I go in there and get around all the guys and we talk to each other. We don't even judge the bikes. The bikes aren't judged. It's just there to be looked at. So that's my kind of outlook on how I feel about as being an attendee of your show.
Exactly. Well, that from day one, people, I tell people I do a bike show and they go, "Oh, what kind of categories? What kind of awards?" And I say, "There's no awards. There's no way I could say that this bike is cooler than this bike, or this bike is more unique, or has more time, or more effort, or more energy, or more heart into it." If they're selected for the show, they're all winners. Everybody's there as a winner. And I've actually had people, when I tell them, I've invited them to the show. I've seen a bike in Sturgis or somewhere else, and I said, "Hey, I really love what you're doing here. I love what you're creating. Would you be interested in bringing something to St. Louis for the next cycle showcase?" And I've had people say, "Yeah, I'd love to." And then they say, what kind of award classes?" And I say, "Well, there are no awards." And I see a look on their face where it kind of goes blank, and they're like, "Well, I don't know if I can make it." And honestly, if that's the outlook on it, then I probably don't want you there, because everybody at Cycle Showcase is there purely for the love of the art of the motorcycle, the beauty of the motorcycle. They've got motorcycle fever. There's no awards. You're not going to get any plaques or trophies or anything like that, but you're going to be surrounded by everybody else that is just as passionate about the motorcycle as you are. And people always, after the fact, that they say this is like a family. This is really like every year, whether I have a bike in the show or not, I'm coming back because this feels like my motorcycle family. And that means the world to me. That's heaps. I love that. So yeah, it's I don't know. I forgot what the question was, but I just
you hit it. You nailed it right. You nailed it right. That's you nailed it, because that's the real feel, is when we show up there. Like, I always thought before I went there, it was about trophies and things like that, until I got to your show. And that's one of the things that makes yours one of a kind, is it's not about the trophies. It's about the family and being a part of that. And once you're there and you experience that, even a couple of the other people I've talked to, the trophies never matter anymore, because the trophy is being invited to your show. That is the trophy in your show.
Well,
and seeing your bike displayed on that stage.
Thank you very much. I you know, like I said, I built bikes, and I know what it's like to push a bike into a show and to feel like you're just there filling a space.
Right.
So that's why I take the time, the effort, and the expense to show each bike like I would like to have my bike shown if I went somewhere. If I just spent 6 months or a year building a bike and creating a bike, and the time and the amount of money that it takes to do one nowadays. Um, uh, that's kind of how my show is built. Is what would I like if I was rolling into a place, and how would I like to have my bike displayed? And
Right.
that's where the basis for my exhibit comes from.
Yep. So that's it. That's 100% it. I mean, I've been to other shows and I've had my son's bike in other shows, but my son's bike has never looked as good as it did on your stage underneath the lights and the pictures. And I mean, that's an honest opinion. I mean, I've been to a lot of other shows this year, and once I seen that, I was like, man, it doesn't ever look the same after the cover came off it.
Well, thank you. I spent a lot of money to ensure that, because it's very, very important to me. I'm not going to say that there's not a dark spot in the room here and there, because it drives me crazy, because maybe I don't have 150 light fixtures to shine on both sides of every bike, but I do my damnedest to make every bike display as awesome as I can. And this I lean on my sound and lighting concert friends to come in for a couple days before the event, and to help me out, and to hang lights and to focus lights and to do all these things. And it's a team effort, but the proof is in the pudding. The way the displays always come out, once we open the doors, I'm always so happy to watch people's faces when they walk in and they see the place lit up, and the vibe that's inside Cycle Showcase. It makes my heart happy.
Nice. So what is your personal show experience of 2024 last year?
What's my show experience?
Yes. Like, which one? What? I know you like all of your shows, but what was the best part of 2024 for you in the show series?
Oh, Lordy. Well, 2020, I do Cycle Showcase in St. Louis. For the last 3 years now, I've done Cycle Showcase North Carolina at the Smokeout Rally. Chris and Heather from Cycle Source Magazine invited me up a few years ago, and I've been going up there for the last 3 years, and kind of curating that show. They pick all the bikes from their magazine bikes, and I go up there and I just try to make them look pretty, and have a great vacation weekend up there. As much as hard work as it is, it's always fun. The Smokeout is just a hoot. And then the last 2 years, I've done Cycle Showcase Lake of the Ozarks for Bike Fest at Lake of the Ozarks. That's really cool. That event is growing leaps and bounds every year. The amount of bikes and the amount of talent that's down at Lake of the Ozarks for Bike Fest in middle of September is fantastic. But if you're asking about my 2024 highlight, it's got to be the inaugural year at Sturgis. This was the first year that I got to take Cycle Showcase up to Sturgis. And man, what a great venue, what great people to work with up there. The whole experience from start to finish was fantastic. And I can't wait to go back in 2025, go back again this year, and do it even bigger for the big 85th this year.
Awesome. So
go
ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I had another one, but if you got more, go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off.
I was going to say going back up there for 2025 is something I'm really looking forward to for the big 85th Sturgis Rally. But I am very much looking forward to, and I guess this might be the first public place we're talking about it, the Lone Star Rally in Galveston, Texas. Looks like here in October of 2025, we'll be taking Cycle Showcase down to Galveston for the Lone Star Rally. I went down there this year to kind of look over the property, and I was invited down by a group that puts on the Lone Star Rally, and they invited me down, and I went down and checked out the property, and holy cow, what a crowd they have in Texas down there in Galveston for that. It is it's it's pretty intimidating
They
when you get down there on Main Street, and it's elbows to assholes, and it's crazy. And to be able to go down there and do Cycle Showcase here in 2025, in the fall of 2025 this year, I'm really looking forward to that too.
Well, they say everything's bigger in Texas, so
Yeah,
but
I heard it was big, and I heard that the Lone Star was the biggest rally down there. And when I was like, yeah, well, how big can it be? Holy cow! I got down there, I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. I can't wait to get right in the mix of this.
well, thanks for giving us that little bit of a reveal. It kind of seems the reveal week for Harley's coming out with reveals, Indians coming out with reveals, and you just kind of let loose on the Cycle Showcase reveal. So
yeah,
I think that's awesome, and I appreciate that. So my next question is, what would you say is your damn man, I did this moment?
Well, this year Sturgis was always, when I started this in 2013, I called it Cycle Showcase STL. And in the back of my mind, I always had this fanciful idea of maybe someday doing Cycle Showcase CHI in Chicago, or Cycle Showcase OKC in Oklahoma City, or whatever. Whatever city, Denver, New York, wherever. That was always kind of in the back of my head, is if we got enough traction here in St. Louis, maybe we could take this around the country and do it in other cities. I think it was about the second night in Sturgis this year when I could actually sit down and relax during the rally this year and look around at the generous people that most of them were friends that I've known for years, that I invited up for the first year at Sturgis this year. And to be surrounded by all of the friends and the just utterly amazing bikes that we had in Sturgis this year, the great environment there at the Steel Pony Campground. There was a time there the second night there where I think when I got to actually sit down and relax and soak it all in, and I was like, wow, where do you go? Where do you go from here? I don't know where we go from here, but that was I without being boisterous, that was a proud moment when I could sit back and just absorb it and take it all in and see what a great group of friends I had, and generous group of friends, and what we all created together.
Well, that's awesome. That pretty much hits all of my questions, except for I have one last question, and then we're done. Would you say?
All right.
Would you say the chopper scene is making a comeback?
God, I hope so. God, I hope so. I like everything on two wheels. Mini bikes to baggers with 40 speakers, as long as it's done well and done right. I like it. But my heart is always in a chopper. That's, somebody told me years ago, he goes, yeah, you don't ever see baggers on a t-shirt. They always put a chopper on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
It's like, there's a reason for that. There is a reason for that. There's I don't know. That's just where my heart lies. That's where I grew up idolizing the St. Louis style D-rake chopper, seeing those guys cruising around town here. That was so influential on me. And I don't know. Some people say choppers never left. Fads come and go, trends come and go. Performance baggers, I mean, there was a time there where people were building diggers, and I'm 6'5", and I can't imagine even sitting on a digger.
All right.
riding one. And Arlen Ness is one of my biggest influences. God love him, rest his soul. And the amazing stuff that he built, but I can't imagine riding one. But choppers till the day I die, man. That's Yeah, that's I love everything, but I'm always be a chopper guy.
Right on. Well, that's all I got for tonight. I could talk motorcycles all night like you, but I don't want to keep you all night. But I can assure you that if anybody out there is not attending a Cycle Showcase show, that you're missing out on not only awesome pieces of work, but awesome people. Please make sure and check out his content. Check him out he's on Instagram, all the social media sites, and you will like to do all the fun stuff. Subscribe, follow him. And thank him for if you go out to one of his shows, and thanks for being on my show tonight. And everyone get out there and check out one of his shows.
We got a second?
Yes, we do.
Do we have a second? Okay, I got to spit this out. If you're coming to St. Louis this year, we've added a new element, and that's a film element. The foundry, the city foundry where the Cycle Showcase is located at this year, there's a food court there. There's a bunch of retail stores. And across the walkway, if you will, is the Alamo Draft House, which is a boutique movie theater, if you will. And this year we're taking over one of the theaters, and we're going to show biker movies all weekend. And then on Saturday night, we're going to have a little party for show goers. If anybody wants to come, we're going to take over a theater, and we're going to show some exclusive stuff never before seen in St. Louis. My friend Will Thomas is curating the whole film portion of it, and that's going to be really cool. That's something new that we haven't done before. Let's see. Friday night, we're having a Meet the Builders pre-party at Silver Ballroom in St. Louis, which is a pinball bar. So it's just a whole weekend of fun events. Not to mention the location where Cycle Showcase is this year, back at the City Foundry where I was at a couple years ago. I just couldn't be happier to be there. It's going to be a really neat space. They're letting us do some really cool stuff there. And if you haven't been to Cycle Showcase, this is a good year to pop your cherry.
All right. Good deal. Everybody get out there, see a show. Thanks, Randall. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Yep. And I will see you out there sometime. Probably not going to be this time, but if I do make it, it's going to be a last minute fly in to check you out. So
I hope you're on the mend, man. Take care of yourself.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right, buddy. Take care.
Yep. All right, guys. That is all that I have for tonight. We're going to roll that outro, and I'm going to hit the funny button that makes funny things go away. And that's what I got. Turn your volume down a little bit. This one's loud.
Sweepers, sweepers.